All right, do you get muscle cramps, whether you're an athlete or just playing sports, or people also just randomly get muscle cramps? And what I learned is that a lot of people actually take pickle juice. They'll take a squirt of pickle juice. And I'm hearing hockey players have pickle juice in their water bottles on the bench to take a squirt for muscle cramps. And other people use mustard for muscle cramps. And first I thought this was just more kind of social media bunk. But when I looked it up, it turns out there's something to this. So people get muscle cramps when they're dehydrated and when they're low on electrolytes from exercise and losing electrolytes through sweating. So initially, one would think that something very flavorful and salty, like pickle juice or like mustard, might work by replenishing electrolytes, and that's how it might help with muscle cramps. Well, it turns out there's actually a study looking at this. So in this study, they took people and exercised them, let them become dehydrated, depleted their electrolytes, and about half an hour later, they gave them either pickle juice or mustard or deionized water, and they followed them out for an hour and looked at their electrolyte levels, and what they found was that none of those really substantially changed their electrolyte levels. So that small amount, relatively small amount of mustard or pickle juice was just not enough in that short period of time to change the electrolytes, so that isn't how it works. But it does seem to work, and that comes from this study where they actually took people, dehydrated them, and then they electrically stimulated a muscle to create a cramp in a lab scenario. And they gave those people either deionized water or pickle juice to see what would happen at the time of that muscle cramp. And as it turns out, the people who got the pickle juice had a cramp that was about 35% shorter in duration than people who got the water. So just instead of having a cramp of just over 2 minutes, their cramp lasted just over a minute. So there seemed to be an effect of that pickle juice in reducing the duration of that cramp or aborting that cramp earlier. So it does seem to work, but we don't understand why it works. It's probably too fast to work through an electrolyte or metabolism mechanism. One of the leading theories on why this works is that there's this strong flavor, this kind of vinegar flavor in pickle juice or mustard and other foods like that. And what that does is it triggers some receptors that we have in the back of our throat that actually stimulate the brain to immediately release an inhibitory signal to our muscles. So basically a relaxation signal to our muscles. And it might be this neurologic mechanism, this sort of feedback loop that allows this to work so quickly after consumption. So if you use mustard or pickle juice or kombucha or just vinegar for your muscle cramps, you might be onto something.